gathering its forces for still another unending assault on man.
1-800 Embassy for Resident.
It sounds like it came right out of a zombie.
Computers are living in the basements. Go below and stay below ground level.
Monka Giga. Maybe disturbing, chat. Be ready.
Tornado warning.
Can everyone be honest here? Tornado warnings? Can they change the fucking sound to something else? Like, it's the most ominous sounding shit in the world. I hate tornado warnings, dude.
April 9th.
Can we just change it to like a fucking, like, I don't know, Beatles song? I mean, then I'll end up starting to hate a Beatles song. I don't know. To be fair, I feel like anything that would be put there, you would end up hating. Silent Hill music? Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, tornadoes are terrifying. Is this the one where, like, they're hiding in a gas station or something? Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus? Dude, then I would be excited about tornadoes. It's like, oh yeah, tornadoes coming! We get to hear Party in the USA! Yeah! Okay, anyway, moving on.
2015, a tornado begins to
Silent
form during
fart.
the evening hours in the small town of Franklin Grove, Illinois, quickly growing larger and larger by the minute, to the point of reaching an unprecedented size for the area.
Thank you, Purple Sprite.
Miles away in the town of Fairdale, 67-year-old Geraldine Schultz spotted the vortex forming in the distance. Worried, she called her husband Clem into the kitchen, where the two would stand watching the tornado out their window. For the couple, tornadoes were nothing new, and Clem was quickly able to determine that the storm would likely miss them to the east. But just to be safe, he went upstairs to grab some lanterns, in the likely event of a power outage.
Dude, the most Midwestern thing in the world that people do is when there's a tornado going on, they grab a beer and they just stand outside and they're literally just like, I don't know. I think the storm's probably going to miss us. Probably miss us like 20 miles south, I would say. Oh, yeah. It's like one of those like button shirts, but it's like his shirt's unbuttoned and his stomach's hanging out. Yeah, no, yeah, I think we're fine. We could probably hang out here and just watch the storm from here. I think we should be good. I could see, out a little bit. I don't see any funnels going on. I think we're fine. That's literally the most Midwestern thing in the world. They do it all the time. Sitting on his roof with his camera recording a tornado near. It's like, what the fuck? Dude, it's Midwesterners, dude. They're insane. They're fucking insane, man.
Upon doing so, Clem would catch a glimpse of the tornado outside the bedroom window, having grown significantly closer. Its wind speeds were well over 200 miles an hour, and having been classified as an EF4, it was the largest twister the area had ever seen. In awe of its size, Clem began to record out the window, still certain that the storm was heading east.
Dude, that's literally, oh man, it's literally Midwesterners, dude, headed right toward him. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be heading about 5 miles east, probably. That's fucking terrifying, though, dude. Tornadoes, oh, I hate tornadoes. I'm glad none has ever hit me. There's been some close to my town, but...
And in reality, the powerful storm was heading directly towards him.
God, dude, that's gotta be fucking terrifying.
By the time Clem would realize this, it was far too late. There was no time to run, and not a chance to hide. All he could do was stand there helplessly and watch.
Why would basement or anything? Go into the bathroom? Why are you standing next to the window?
Watch.
Let me get the camera. Why are you recording? Put the camera down and go into the bathroom or something, dude. You know the drill. Oh my God. Or wait, was that just a, I think that was just a cam. That was just like a mounted cam, right? That wasn't him.
It was a direct hit, as the EF4 tornado tore through the
Fucking
house.
hell, dude. Look at
before
that
Clem
house.
could even say a word, quickly turning the home that had once stood there for 100 years.
That
to
house was
dust and rubble.
instantly
And
gone,
buried
dude.
beneath it all was Clem, along with his wife of 25 years.
Fucking hell.
They got fire rescue on the way.
Against all odds, Clem would somehow survive, pulling himself up from the field of debris.
Sheesh.
It was a storm that would go on to destroy numerous homes and take the lives of 2 people, one of whom was Clem's neighbor and good friend Jacqueline Closa, who lived in the house that Clem had filmed being destroyed just moments
damn.
before it struck him, and the other being Geraldine, Clem's wife and
Oh, that's
best friend.
terrible.
Days following the disaster, a family member who had been searching the area for anything salvageable would stumble across Clem's phone, which miraculously was still working. And on it would be the now infamous video that showed the point of view of a man being struck head-on by a tornado and somehow surviving.
Dude, I'm like, oh, dude, that's why I never even take chances with tornadoes, dude. Like, just hide, bruh. Hide. No joke, chat. In my hometown, they literally sell like these like tornado shelters that are just like a big box, but they're like extremely heavy and like made with concrete, so they can't like get flown away. Like they literally sell like these portable tornado shelters because, you know, we get tornadoes so often.
The imagery, the sounds, and the context make this clip one of the most shocking I have ever seen, as well as one of the darkest across all of YouTube.
The tornado has passed. Capricious, swift, savage.
Guy up the road from me has one. Yeah, it's smart.
Before we
It
move
really
on
is.
to the next video,
I know a lot of people get like, "Oh, you fucking pussy! Wait, you think a tornado's gonna kill you, man? You'll be fine." Then shit like this happens.
Today's sponsor, Casetify. I, like many of you out there, case.
A new high-tech way to find out who's at the door.
With a video doorbell, you'll never...
I just want everyone to know I support every YouTuber who does sponsors. Okay? Don't judge me for skipping.
miss a visitor.
In the past few years, the world has seen a boom in the use of doorbell cameras, mainly because of instances like this.
Oh, they got a camera. Oh, they got a camera.
Why is he yelling that they got a camera, bruh? If you're trying to, like, break in, just run. What?
Capturing and exposing criminals in the act, from the most petty of thieves.
Yeah, I have a camera. Actually, I have multiple cameras. I'm gonna get more because our neighbors are pretty sussy.
All the way to attempted murderers and kidnappers. Due to their knack for capturing disturbing encounters, the videos that have emerged from these devices have practically carved out their own genre here on YouTube, to the point that many, including myself, have almost become desensitized to them.
Oh yeah, those are just staged right there. I feel like the sad part is a lot of them are staged.
But recently, a video began making the rounds, showing the events that transpired at a Las Vegas home on the evening of July 21st, 2021. And it proved to be one of the most chilling I have ever seen.
I'm ready to get chilled.
It happened around 8 p.m., where a young lady had been working in her...
Anything for views. Dude, that's why you can't trust anything on the internet anymore. I mean, to be fair, you couldn't initially, but at least you had some sense of like, oh, they're probably being realistic. Now it's like 99% of it's fake.
Kitchen.
Yes, I
waiting
have a
for her
Discord.
husband
Type
to
exclamation
return
point
home from
Discord
work.
to
It
get
was
in there.
another 100-degree day in Vegas, and likely in an
Thank you,
attempt to
Herobrine.
cool down, she would open her window to let the evening breeze in. Unbeknownst to her, this harmless decision would lead to a terrifying series of events. Outside of the home, a man had been wandering the suburban streets aimlessly, roaming throughout the neighborhood before stopping in his tracks. In front of him was the open window, and a clear view of the woman inside.
Oh no.
It was a chance sighting that would lead to the man approaching the house and ringing the doorbell, where the camera would begin to record.
Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you.
Who is he talking to?
Are you sure? What? Are you sure?
Is he broken? Dude, I think this guy's broken. He's lagging. What the fuck?
I just rang your doorbell.
Are you sure?
I have a couple questions for you.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
The man stands there ringing the doorbell and knocking.
Okay, I'm okay. It would be creepy if it was happening IRL, don't get me wrong, but it is kind of funny looking at it right now.
At the door, repeating the same sentences over and over again, calmly stating that he just wants to ask a few questions.
Let's see how it
However,
goes.
the woman inside had never met this man. In fact, she had never seen him before this moment.
Dude, honestly, just answer his questions, you know?
To make it all stranger, she didn't respond to anything the man was saying, and was out of his line of view as he peeked through the door. So the phrases that he was saying were not in response to anyone, and instead, he was speaking to himself. Fearing for her safety, the woman inside didn't open the door or engage him at all, leading the man to take things a step further.
Oh boy.
Are you positive? I just have a couple questions for you. Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Are you positive? Are you sure? Are you absolutely certain?
He begins trying to open the door, but thankfully it was locked, causing the strange man to start walking away, cursing under his breath. The footage is incredibly off-putting, and although the man seems to stay perfectly calm, there was something very aggressive and erratic about the way he was speaking, making one wonder what his true intentions were when he approached the house. As the man begins to walk away, the woman's husband, still at work, would chime in through the doorbell after noticing the situation begin to unfold, which in turn
Fuck you.
Revealing why he was ringing the doorbell.
So who are you?
What? Yeah? Are you sure?
Who are you?
He even said, "Are you sure?" What? Yeah? Are you sure? What the fuck? I love it. He's just stuck in a loop, dude. He's actually lagging IRL. Are you sure? I want to watch that again.
The doorbell.
Sure.
So who are you?
What? Yeah? Are you sure?
Who are you?
He almost like says it to himself. Are you sure?
Hey, I just had a couple questions. I just wanted to ask you about AB Fuel. Yeah, can you hear me? What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to rip her and kill her.
Jesus Christ!
I'm going to rip and kill the girl that's on the other side of this door when she lets me in.
Dear Lord.
It was no secret what he had planned for that evening.
I mean, he's upfront about it.
He outright says it, even revealing that he had the weapons to make it happen.
I want to rip her and kill her because I have a knife and a gun. Yeah, and I'm going to knock on her door again.
If that woman had opened the door...
But are you sure? Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't trying to do that. Are you sure?
Well, we know what would have happened. But thankfully, neither of those situations played out, and instead, the man walked away muttering the same phrases over and over again.
Yeah. What?
Even staring at the house for a few moments before finally disappearing into the night. Police were called to the area moments later, but the man was nowhere to be found.
Oh, no.
As quickly as he had entered this couple's life, he was now gone, leaving them with the reality that at any...
Dude, that is like the worst feeling ever. Like if someone does that shit, and then it's just like, and then he was never seen again. Like, bruh, drugs are a hell of a drug.
Moment he could return.
To be fair, I really don't think he would ever return. The dude was just probably fucked up on drugs and an insane person. And dude, that honestly, A lot of times, that's how crimes happen. It's literally just a dude, he's either cracked out or insane. He's just like, I'm going to go kill someone. And they just go kill someone. You know? I don't think he's going to revisit the location. He does seem like he has something going mentally, so it's a bit sad. Are you feeling bad for a dude who walked up to a house, knocked on the door, and said he's going to rape and kill someone? Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you sure?
Scared for her life, the lady posted the clip online, where it would quickly go viral across YouTube, which honestly may have ended up saving a life. The following day, a viewer of the video would recognize the same man walking in another residential area, in one that was not too far away from the house where the encounter took place. And after the police were called, the man would be quickly arrested before he could play out his disturbing fantasy. When confronted and asked for his name, the man would simply state that he was the Holy Spirit, and said nothing more. Though his real name was revealed to be Christopher Sums, a man who had passed charges of stealing, assaulting, and intimidating a witness, with his mugshot being nothing short of completely haunting.
Dude, this guy thinks he's like the antagonist of an anime, bruh. Like, what is this like super villain smile, dude? He's the Joker.
But what I found most surprising was the fact that he didn't always look like this. In fact, just a few years ago, he looked completely normal. And according to his LinkedIn, he had a fairly impressive work history and what seemed to be a good life, until for whatever reason, things spiraled in the wrong direction. As it stands, Christopher is being evaluated to see if he is mentally fit to stand trial, as many believe that he likely suffers from
like
some
Joker
kind of
from the movie
psychological
Joker.
condition, hence the repeating phrases and the strange behavior. Though his blatant and rapid change in appearance might also point to heavy...
No joke, chat. I know people always meme, this is what drugs do to you. Dude, I know people. I know I've had friends. This is no joke. Literally what drugs do to you. That's what drugs do to you.
heavy drug use, or even a combination of both. But regardless of what was behind his behavior that day, the situation and the subsequent video is haunting, and could have been so much worse had that door been opened.
Are you sure?
I feel like everyone's out to get me.
This is Bionicpig.
YouTube is a site that draws in people from all walks of life, each with their own unique motivation for starting up their channels.
Old YouTube,
Some are in
dude.
it for the money and the fame, while others are in it for
I'm
the
in it
love
for the money and fame, chat. Remember that.
of creating content. But sprinkled throughout the
Cringe. No one likes content. I'm milking people for money.
site are a select few who come
I
here
knew
to
it.
feel heard and to get something off their chest. Something that for 27-year-old Tabebe Mokanen would be his primary motivation for posting his first and only video on March 17th, 2018. Tabebe had struggled his whole life with mental illness, suffering from both schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. These mental illnesses led to an event
Okay, I was
in
confused.
2013 where he would wander off from his home unprovoked. Outside, he began to walk for miles, essentially in a daze, before finding himself in what he described as a very dangerous part of town. Thankfully, Tabebe would be safely found before anything had happened to him, but this incident would prove to be life-changing, as it would lead to his hospitalization due to his unpredictable and dangerous behavior. This would also start a long spell of being given heavy medication to help with his schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Over the course of the next 4 years, Tabebe would find himself in and out of the hospital and prescribed a variety of powerful antipsychotic drugs, something that would consume his life as he felt like he was no longer in control of his actions.
I'm glad my brain isn't... I mean, it's not great, don't get me wrong, but fuck. I'm glad I don't have, like, I don't know. That's insane to deal with stuff like this.
And feeling trapped, he would turn to
thought he said
YouTube to
debating
share his
first.
story.
Hello, this is Tababa Mukonin. I'm talking and putting this video because I wanted to bring awareness to a situation that I'm dealing with that's very painful. I was hospitalized June 25th, 2013.
They basically cripple you?
I went there to supposedly get an IV. I ended up being forced to take medication. And it was pure hell. They gave me Haldol, Risperidol, and they were forcing antipsychotics down my throat. It was absolute torture and hell.
In the 10-minute video, Tabebe made it clear that he was not consenting to this medical treatment, and he explained how the medication he was forced to take made him feel like a zombie, even saying that it had gotten so bad that he had thoughts of taking his own life.
Wow.
It was bad. It was really bad. And I had suicidal ideation.
Throughout the clip, Tabebe comes across as intelligent and well-spoken, but traces of his illness shine through periodically. For instance, he explains how immediately after being released from the hospital on multiple occasions, he would wander away from his home, even attempting to be homeless for a while admitting that he didn't know why this was an issue, or why it would always lead to him going back to the hospital.
I got off, and
that is kind of weird.
I think I had another episode.
Like that is what brings him to the hospital. Like, he basically takes a walk for a couple days, and then they bring him back.
Or episode, as they like to say, where I said I wanted to be homeless. That's it. All I said was I wanted to be homeless. So, and I proceeded to be homeless. And next thing I know, the cops came, and they arrested me, and they took me back to the hospital. Then after that, I left, and I tried to be homeless again, and I was hospitalized again.
But things would be further escalated as Tabebe casually explains how he has violent outbursts, even resorting to punching multiple people who were trying to give him medication, as well as starving himself in retaliation.
So I started getting violent, and I started punching people, and I started attacking people in the hospital, and they had to tie me down. I began to lash out like, I'm going to protest this. I'm going to starve myself as a way of hopefully stopping this ridiculous forced treatment for absolutely nothing.
And by the end of the video, Tabebe flat out explains that he does not have any sort of mental illness, or have any symptoms for that matter, calling what was happening to him an injustice.
I guess I'm just trying to let you guys know the injustice that goes on.
Okay, this is weird. What the fuck?
It's a truly depressing situation, as on one hand he is being forced to take medication that essentially makes him feel dead inside, while on the other hand it seems very apparent that treatment is necessary to not only keep others around him, but himself safe, as he doesn't seem fully aware of how serious some of his actions are. Tabebe concluded the video by asking those watching what they thought of his situation, and though it didn't garner many views, a select few would stumble upon it and agree with his stance that the treatment he was receiving was unlawful.
Yeah, I feel like this is his family doing it. I feel like his family thinks he's like insane or something. Like, cause being you gotta sign for shit. Like, if this is forced, you gotta, like, they can't just do that. You know? Like, you gotta sign for shit. You gotta, well, what's the word? Approve of what they're doing.
With many insinuating that he should continue to protest and not take his medication.
Like, consent. There you go, consent. Like, you can't even do surgery on people unless they sign for it or do consent or your parent signs for it. If you're forced there, you have to take the drugs. Well, like if you have like a psychotic episode type dealio. I don't know. That feels weird.
These comments are unfortunately no longer available, as just a few weeks ago the video was removed, but they had been reflected across multiple sites as people called out the commenters for essentially trying to convince someone to go off his medication cold turkey, and doing so without knowing the true extent of his medical history, which obviously is irresponsible and potentially very dangerous. But unfortunately, these conflicting viewpoints came years later, and in that time surrounding the video's release, Tebebe had likely found the verification he was looking for. He was going to keep protesting his medication. This video would be the first and last that we would ever hear from Tebebe, but it wouldn't be the last we'd hear of him. Just 2 months following the video, Tebebe would make the local news after having an encounter at the hospital. There, a therapist entered his room to talk with him, when suddenly Tebebe snapped, grabbing her and refusing to let go, while performing lewd gestures toward her and eventually pinning her on the ground, refusing to let her go. The situation led to Tebebe being arrested for sexual battery, but no jail time was ever given, as instead, a plea deal was reached where Tebebe agreed to stay in the hospital, and most importantly, he agreed to go back on his medication and take it as prescribed. It's this note that hints at the idea that he had likely gone off his medication before.
See, that's the problem there. Yeah, going off meds like cold turkey can fuck you up crazy. Like especially psychotic stuff that strong. You can't just like quit. Like you're gonna get even worse problems. So that makes sense. This is a weird ass situation.
For this incident, something that would have directly
He's
led
just unaware
to his
that he has
violent
problems.
outburst.
Probably.
And given the event's proximity to the video that he had just
know.
posted, and the comments supporting his desire to stop taking his medication, it's not hard to theorize that Tebebe may have cut off his meds due to the advice of his comment section, or at the very least was further convinced that it was the right thing to do. Regardless, it seemed clear that the inconsistencies with his medication had caused him to lose control, and this wouldn't be the last time.
Oh no.
In the summer of 2019, Tebebe was staying at an Embassy Suites hotel with his mother Zalem Abje, who had been caring for him around the clock. He had been moved there from the hospital as part of his treatment plan, as it kept him close by and easy to monitor regularly, but it also made him free of being cooped up in a hospital room, which clearly he didn't enjoy. The change of scenery was likely supposed to calm Tebebe and his growing anger issues,
Epic.
but unfortunately, his violent outbursts did not stop there. On August 20th at 1:30 a.m., Tebebe would get into an altercation with his mother in their hotel room. It's not clear what had started the argument, but things would quickly turn physical, as Tebebe started to shove his mother, pushing her so hard that it would knock her out of the room, and then onto their balcony. Their room was on one of the top floors of the hotel, and it overlooked the lobby down below. And in one more violent outburst, Tebebe would give one final push, this time knocking her all the way over the railing, causing her to plummet to the ground below. She did not survive the impact. Tebebe Makanen was arrested at the scene and held at a holding center where he remains to this day awaiting his trial, though his crime is clear, and it's likely he will spend the rest of his life either behind bars or in some kind of institution. The events that happened on that fateful morning are still somewhat unknown to this day, though we do know the events that led up to it, and the years of hurt and anger that Tebebe had built up, as well as his inconsistent and dangerous use of antipsychotics, which, unsurprisingly, it appears that he had again attempted to take himself off of his meds in the time surrounding his murderous fit, with this being used as the likely reason for his behavior that day, something that was telegraphed in one single
Dude, something about it sucks. So when it comes to like meds, first of all, like, you know, admitting that you have some sort of mental problem is a hard thing to do. But second of all, when you are on meds, you feel like, what's the word? People feel like they're diseased. Like it makes them feel more like they have a problem. Like it makes them feel like they're, you know, which in turn can make things even worse, which in his situation literally makes him cut it off cold turkey, and then he literally goes batshit insane and kills his mom. It's like a vicious cycle, dude. Yeah, but this guy is off. He's off.
Video, which, looking back, almost foreshadows the tragic events that were soon to come. Events that may have been...
It's a lot because we stigmatize mental health issues. Bro, like, do you see how media portrays mental health back then? Like, I never even thought about it back then because, like, when I was a kid, I thought if you went to therapy, you're a mental case. Like, you're crazy. Like, you're seeing demons, you know? Like you're someone who no one wants to be around type shit. Like, in, like, Freaky Friday, I remember when they were portraying therapy, every single person that went in there was just batshit crazy. Either bawling their eyes out or just an insane person, you know? Yeah, people, it's better now. It's a lot better now, but man, it was awful back then. It's finally starting to become more normal to take therapy, which I think everyone, honestly, everyone should be open to taking therapy because it's extremely important to having a happy life. You know? Like, some people, it's different. Some people don't really have issues, but let's be real, the majority of people do. Like, therapy, you should do therapy. It's very important. Everyone needs it to an extent.
By the viewers watching him.
The true miracle happened right out of a zombie movie.
Oh boy.
Our next video takes us across the world to the Philippines in mid-July 2014. The story begins on a tragic note as a family says their goodbyes to their 3-year-old daughter. In the days prior, the young girl had developed a severe fever, and without access to an up-to-date medical facility, she would pass away in the morning hours on July 12th. With no pulse and no heartbeat, the little girl was pronounced dead and taken home to prepare for the funeral, which would be held the next day.
The next day?
It was obviously a somber event, as the girl was placed in a casket and the lid was shut. Family members and loved ones gathered around to celebrate the short life of a child who deserved so much more, and watch as she was placed into the ground, which would be her final resting place.
No, we haven't watched
this. But before that would happen, one of the neighbors had been in charge of arranging the young girl's body before burial. Though something strange happened when he went to do so. Inside the coffin, the young girl's head began to move. It was a slight twitch, but in a panic, the neighbor checked for a pulse only to discover that her heart was still beating and the young girl was breathing. One of the family members begins to record as the sudden wave of realization hits that the child was actually alive.
What? How do you mistake that? How do you... What?
It's the ultimate case of what if. Had that person not opened the casket to reposition the body, then that little girl would have been buried alive, and no one would have ever known. It's a clip that I'm sure many of you have seen by now, as the original video itself has garnered over 1 million views, and topping—
How do you not know? How do you not know?
That, a news station that covered the story currently sits with 25 million views. It's one of the more viral horror stories that I've ever seen on YouTube, as seemingly everyone knows about this infamous video.
I don't.
And rightfully so. I mean, it's one of the craziest stories I have ever seen, both on YouTube or in the news.
Just wait. Stop saying just wait, alright? You're making me uncomfortable. Stop it.
Problem is, this viral video didn't tell the whole story. The story itself does in fact appear to be true, having been confirmed by Philippine officials who admitted that a mistake had been made in that particular hospital, which led to the mix-up and almost to the mistaken burial. But the story doesn't have the happy ending that many of us thought, as in reality, that child never actually woke up. She did have a pulse and shallow breathing, but she would never regain consciousness and remained in a comatose state. In fact, just 2 days after this video was taken, and on the 15th of July, she would once again be pronounced dead, this time for real. But looking back on the viral video viewed by millions, the anchors say that she was fine, calling it a miracle.
Happy tears, knowing that thankfully she's fine.
I'm glad they opened that casket to check to move around.
Now, it may be possible that they just didn't know this at the time, as based off of the way they're talking, it seems like they're
what? What? A news network not looking up the facts? Impossible!
Or it would have came out the day or the day after the child
You just
was
showed a
found
dead
alive.
baby to millions of
Only,
people.
that's not true either, as the child was determined to be alive on the 13th of July, and once again pronounced dead on the 15th, just 2 days later. Yet this video was published a full month later, on August 13th, 2014. So when this video went live, that little girl was long gone, and this is something that they likely knew, as it had been well reported in other major news outlets on the day of her actual passing. I mean, nowadays, even the top Google result for this incident mentions her passing, and it came out on the very day it happened. So when this video went live, they had to have known it wasn't true. What started on its own as one of the darkest videos on the site has now become even more twisted as the true ending has been revealed. A miracle that turned out to be nothing more than a mirage,
The bad ending.
leading to even more heartbreak as the
News
family was
telling you
now
half the
forced to
truth?
grieve
Impossible!
and come to terms with this girl's passing twice. And it's made even worse by the news report that has essentially rewritten the story's ending.
That's
But looking at
dude.
just the video and the story as is, of how everything unfolded, it's still truly horrifying that this little girl was almost buried alive, whether she was conscious or not. And it makes me wonder how many others have been in that dreadful situation, buried alive by mistake.
Dude, yeah, being buried alive is probably one of my biggest things I would rather not die to. That would suck. That would be cringe. Dude, fuck getting buried alive. Cringe. Are you sure?
And that's the end.
Computers are coming your way.
Divorce is often one of the more traumatic experiences that a young child can go through, as many are left in a state of confusion and distress at such a tumultuous time in their life. And for a young man named Daniel Bartlam, his childhood was sadly no different. Growing up in Nottinghamshire, England, Daniel's parents, Jackie and Adrian, would separate following the birth of Daniel's younger brother.
One sec. Ooh, Ezra's rolling some dough. Well, my wife sent me a video of Ezra rolling some cookie dough out.
With the situation leading to a split in the family, as the young boys would move to a new home with their mother. This brought Daniel to an unfamiliar town, as well as a brand new school, and to top it all off, Daniel's mother would soon find a new partner, further adding to the confusion that Daniel must have been feeling.
God damn.
All of these circumstances would lead Daniel to a declining mental state, as he began to isolate himself in his room, barely speaking to his family. Daniel's mother, Jackie, was well aware of the change in his behavior, and she soon thought of the perfect way to bring him out of this depression. So she saved up some money on the side until she eventually had enough to buy Daniel his very own iMac.
What's that? Your son's depressed because you got a divorce? Give him something where he can just lock himself in his room and get more depressed. That's smart. That's smart. Look, I'm sorry. The worst thing you can do when it comes to being depressed is sit on a computer all day. I mean, unless, to be fair, unless you're like doing something productive a little bit, if you're sitting on the computers just scrolling through Reddit or some shit, you're just going to be depressed. Can we watch something else? No, it's Scary Month. Shut up. We're literally almost done with the fucking video. We're watching this video. We've been watching it for 20 minutes. We're sticking with it. All right? Come into my chat. Can we watch another video? I don't like this one. Shut up. Okay.
A computer that he had been asking for years. At the time, Daniel had a vested interest in technology, even having his own YouTube channel dedicated to the topic. But this new computer meant an upgrade in quality and a future with limitless possibilities. Overjoyed, Daniel quickly began a new channel and dedicated his very first upload to his new device.
Okay. Oh! He's got an iMac. Okay, I'm gonna feel bad. I feel like something bad's gonna happen.
Hello YouTube, this is Daniel AB1702 here, and it's finally happened. I now have an iMac, and I can now make bigger and better videos.
Let's go!
The video is clearly nothing too special, as the quality is about what you would expect from a kid his age who is just starting out. And the following videos were much the same, with these uploads simply being compilations from a show he liked. It all may not have seemed like much, but this computer, along with this new channel, seemed to be the spark that he so badly needed, a new passion and a new outlook on life. But strangely...
See, exactly. If you're on a computer, if you're actually doing something productive on it, depression be gone. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, you know, when it comes to, like, screens when you're depressed. Why isn't your editing as good, Pig? Shut up. Barry, are you in here? Did you hear that, Barry? My editor's probably not in here. If he was in here, he'd be pissed.
Just a few uploads, the account would go silent. This is something that happens all the time on YouTube, where a creator starts posting with high aspirations before abandoning their work, and it's typically due to a lack of success or just the overall busyness of life. But in Daniel's case, his reason for leaving was far darker, as right around the time of his last upload, he would experience the ultimate tragedy. On the morning of April 25th, 2011, neighbors of Daniel had reported hearing a commotion coming from his home. That commotion would soon turn to chaos, as the house suddenly erupted into flames, with smoke billowing out all sides. Through the commotion, Daniel would emerge from the home with his little brother and dog in hand, but his mother was nowhere to be found. Police and fire units arrived at the scene quickly, but were already too late, as inside the home they would find the badly burned and disfigured body of Jackie. And surprisingly, they'd soon notice that it wasn't the fire that had done her in, but rather she had been brutally murdered with what appeared to be a hammer. The scene was shocking and incredibly chaotic, but luckily Daniel had been there to explain everything. According to the child, a masked burglar had entered the home before confronting his mother. The confrontation then led to the anonymous person attacking Jackie with a hammer, causing her to collapse to the floor. He then says the intruder lit her body on fire, leading Daniel to grab his brother and dog and escape from the blaze, saving what remained of his family as the murderer escaped out the back. Daniel's story stood out for several reasons, mainly because it showed Daniel was a hero for saving his brother and dog, and it showed just how traumatic that morning must have been for him, as in the matter of one day, Daniel had lost his home and his mother in probably the most devastating way imaginable.
Did he save his iMac though?
The story also stood out for one other reason, with that reason being in regards to the killer. As police began their investigation, they searched and searched for any clues left behind from this supposed masked intruder, but they found nothing. No fingerprints, no footprints, no anything. And looking for any semblance of a lead, they started to search through Daniel's room, where through the charred remains, they miraculously found his computer in perfect working order. Authorities would search the child's device when they stumbled upon something rather bizarre. It was a story that Daniel had typed months before in a Word document that was set as the scene of a soap opera that he had been writing. The story read, Daniel Bartlam, 1997 to 2047, the longest-serving male character to be on the show. The only place he couldn't get away with his deeds was with his mother, Jackie. So one evening, he made it look as though it was a break-in, and murdered his mother with a hammer, and then set her and the family home alight, but helped his brother out to safety, and got his neighbors to contact the police. The story ends with Daniel lying to the police and getting away with murder. It was a shocking revelation, as his mother had been killed with a hammer and set on fire, through what Daniel had described as a break-in, just as his story
he thought he got away with the
story was written. And to make it all stranger, further investigation would reveal that in the days prior to Jackie's death, Daniel had attempted to delete the document, though he had failed to fully remove it. And the findings went deeper, as countless screenshots and clips of a character from a show called Coronation Street were found on the hard drive, with it appearing as though Daniel had an obsession with this character, which proved to be rather interesting, as the character, John Stape, was a villain who had murdered another character with a claw hammer, the same weapon used on his mother. Investigators would keep digging until they eventually found the nail in the
This is what, dude, I'm telling you, this is what happens. This is what happens when you lock your kids in a room with a computer and they're like depressed and they just happen to be insane. That's why you don't lock your kids in a room, dude. Holy shit. Did he reach 1 mil? I saw you guys saying he reached 1 mil. He did it! He did it! Good job. Good job, Nick. I'm proud of you. You did it. Tell your mom.
Often, as it was revealed that in the days prior to the attack, Daniel had searched how to get away with murder. With the slew of information and the lack of evidence that a break-in had ever occurred, Daniel's story quickly fell apart, until he eventually admitted the gruesome truth that he had been the one who had taken his mother's life. On the 24th of April,
I assume she's
Daniel
probably
would spend
sleeping.
the night in his room, rewatching one of his favorite Saw movies. He then emerged from the room carrying a claw hammer and approached his sleeping mother.
Yep.
He proceeded to strike her 7 times in the face before eventually setting her body on fire and escaping the home with his brother and dog, acting as the hero who had quote-unquote saved the day, when in reality it was all his doing.
Wow.
And the entire series of events had been plotted out.
And this is why you should never buy an iMac, ladies and gentlemen.
On the very computer that his mother gave him. The same computer that he had so excitedly made this video on just months before the attack. To this day, we don't really know why Daniel chose to attack his mother, as any reason he's given has been fairly easily disproven, with many chalking it up to his tumultuous childhood, though we have learned more information about his early years, with many of these stories proving to be incredibly disturbing, and hinting at the idea that Daniel was mentally unwell. For instance, it was said that he had an obsession with gruesome movies and games that seemed to inspire his own violent thoughts as he began watching these graphic films at the age of 8. He took these films as inspiration to start writing his own stories, which almost always...
Why? 8? What the fuck? Dude, I don't even watch gruesome movies, dude. 8 years old. Okay, well, that makes sense. Dude, you could... Dude, that kid is traumatized. Like an 8-year-old getting desensitized to that stuff, dude, that messed up his brain, dude.
Number 12. Monkey attacks 100 people.
What's up, Queeflow, man? How you doing?
Love
Thank you for the
watching
resub.
your stream, Pig. I'm sad I've been missing it since I got my new job, Orange Heart.
Well, I've been trying my best. Actually, Michael, Uzenlo in the chat, is actually going to be the new editor for my second channel, which is posting all my live highlights. So I'm going to be officially uploading every single day on that one. So everyone, big thank you to Michael. Big round of applause to Michael for helping me with that.
Death and murder, and the details of which were said to be incredibly intense.
So hopefully that
helps.
helps.
And in a much darker example, about 6 weeks before the murder, during a normal day at school, Daniel began desperately yanking at his tie, insisting that it was trying to strangle him. When further asked about this, he then revealed that he was hearing voices, and those voices were telling him to hurt people. But surprisingly, after being given a psychiatric evaluation, the counselor told his mother that there was nothing wrong with Daniel. But to be on the safe side, they did offer counseling that Jackie would quickly deny. A decision that, for her...
See, I feel... Okay, here's what I think happened. Here's what I think happened. He was obsessed with gore and movies and horror movies at 8, right? Probably even younger than that. He probably even seen shit earlier than that. And he is a shut-in in his room while his mom's out gallivanting with another dude, probably neglecting the shit out of him. and probably watched a shitload of horror movies where that is his reality. You know what I mean? Like, when you're young, it is so easy to like detach yourself from reality and like put yourself in that, you know, like, you know what I mean? The imagination you get when you're younger. So if he had that when he's younger and literally just kept watching it over and over and over, shut in his room all the time watching that stuff, like, that could completely fuck with you. He might have not even been a mental issue. He might have just been fucking detached from reality. You know what I mean? That's weird. That's fucked up. That would fuck me up. Same. If I was watching horror movies with gore and shit at 8, my brain would turn into sludge. Nice, delicious, tasty sludge. All right, thank you, Nick, for your video. Congratulations on reaching 1 million.
Now it's time to walk away. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Did you laugh or cry or maybe subscribed? I'll thank you either way. You know I will miss you. I hope you return. Tell your friend or your mother to get me more views.